Sassy Sassenach. Hello everybody, welcome to episode 3. In episode 1 we looked at going from just a concept and a Google document to our first piece of original concept art, original with an asterisk that we're going to have to discuss later. On our previous episode 2, I finally got to have a go at sculpting, and I fell in love with the lovely Riley Redcrest, who didn't turn out how I was expecting, but mistakes into miracles. And now, unfortunately, by episode 3 we're already mired in controversy, so I'm sure that you've all seen the headlines. You've seen Kotaku and IGN and CNN and The Guardian talking about this already, but I'll just go over how this happened from my perspective. After finishing this wonderful model that you see in front of you and thinking, we've really done an excellent job at a totally unique and original character design here, never seen anything the like, I proudly showed it off to Mrs. Sassenach. And she said, "Oh, it looks really nice. He looks a lot like that guy Mesmer from Elden Ring." And like happens so many times before, I said, no. What's she even talking about? I don't see that at all. And then when I was editing the video, I went, well, why don't we just have a look at a picture of Mesmer? Well, he doesn't, oh no. And, there's the winged helmet, he's got the bare thighs, bare arms, chainmail. The cloak, well, I hadn't got around to putting the cloak there. It's got a lance, and it's even more obvious when looking at the pieces of concept art side by side. Look, I mean, firstly, he's even sitting in a chair, but also even the quality of the art is very similar. It's actually a little bit uncanny. And, all jokes aside, it is kind of funny because in episode 1, when I was making this wonderful piece of art with Riley here, one of the things that I was saying was, I like to make my art unique. I like to make it not something that you've seen before. And FromSoft and their artwork is one of the major things that I was thinking there. There's some, half-remembered, possibly apocryphal story of Miyazaki asking for a design of Seath the Scaleless and getting given a sort of, generic-looking dragon and saying, no, look, we need to make this more interesting. How can you make this something that people haven't seen before? And obviously I was thinking too hard about From Software and I ended up completely stealing one of their designs. Although I do feel like we came to the design in different ways. The winged helmet, well, to be honest, that's their fault. Why does he have a winged helmet and a winged staff and wings here? Okay, I'm starting to think that the wings are actually an important theme of his design. But we both had a reptile focus, me with a dragon, then with some snakes. Mesmer doesn't actually have a pointy helmet, but he sort of looks like it because he has this pile of snakes on top of a rounded helmet here. He doesn't have this super sick lizard skin coif. He has these extra wings here, which do admittedly have the same silhouette. And whereas they were probably, they have these bare thighs, bare arms to give him kind of like an ancient, Greek feel. This character is someone from a very early time before things had moved on to the more medieval Elden Ring. Whereas I was also thinking of important themes like the Dragon Ball Saiyan armor. He even has one weird eye, and it's the same eye. This is the point where I realized maybe they're just messing with me. Maybe I can take them to court for this. Luckily, I think we've got there soon enough to handle this situation. We'll just, part of what we'll focus on in this design is adding elements that aren't quite so much of a Mesmer. And in the meantime, only one person noticed in the comments, and it's just some rando, so who cares? Right, so with that all out of the way, and keeping how we ended last time in mind, I had a couple extra things I was going to add, and I'll be flicking back and forth to the Mesmer picture to make sure that I'm not adding things that Mesmer already has somehow. They've gone back in time to rip off my design. But I don't see a cool eyeball pin on his chest, but he could take that cloak off and it will be there if I put it on there. That's what I'm thinking now. Luckily, I'd already decided against, this over-the-shoulders cape. We have this wonderful back cape instead. It's completely legally distinct. Anyway, we'll give him some flame patterns. Mesmer hasn't. He's got a flame! He's got a flame! Okay, well, at this point I don't even know, why From Software are picking on me specifically. But, we're just going to get on with that. Decorating out the armor, maybe getting a start on that wonderful wheelchair. Okay, so it's been a couple of days since I was sculpting this guy, or gal, or whatever. Now what we were saying last time was a nice mix of sort of simple and complex. So although my instinct is to just start adding detail, this blobby chainmail, although it doesn't look very detailed close up here, it will look fairly detailed from a distance. So if we want to keep that breaking up, we've got the thighs to break that up if I keep these, copyright infringing bare thighs. And I might move these out a little bit to make the profile a little bit more distinct, both legally and visually. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And yeah, for some reason that sort of goes with the flowers to me, that the spread petals on the flowers and on the helmet looks nice. We still need to integrate the helmet a little bit better here, but that's cool. I may need to finally give in and do din topo stuff here, because otherwise the patterns won't look very nice. I think that pattern will clip into and reduce movement from the head, so I'm actually going to do it on the side here. Just want a sort of flame pattern. Yeah, that's okay, but like I say, it's gonna happen. Our best pal din topo is coming in. Some people might say that it should be din topo for dynamic topology, but I like to sort of think of it as like a Greek name. Din topo, maybe on here as well. I kind of want there to be like a piece of it that is blank that comes down. So maybe have the flame pattern rolling up the sides. Sure. It's kind of hard to make flames not look like waves, to be honest, which is ironic. Is it? Is that how irony works? Don't know. I don't particularly like these banded arms and legs, but they do break up the design and look quite distinct. But I'm now running into the issue where, from the waist down, it's all these banded things. I guess unless I put a little fire on here, then yeah, we're at least getting, yeah, sure. How do we make this not look yonic or whatever the opposite of yonic is? Maybe just like a sort of snake's tongue. Maybe not. It's really hard, actually. I shouldn't have brought it up in the first place. I'm just going to leave it like that, and if anybody sees anything weird there, that's their problem. So like I say, because I'm a little unsure of how to proceed, what I'm going to do is just go with the things that I do know how to proceed on, and then we'll sort of work our way through it. I find that's the best way of doing things. So I reckon I want some nice flames on this hat. Quite like a nice gemstone. Yeah, that's not bad. So maybe adding a little bit too much sort of detail between the eyelids, the eyebrows, and this, but because it comes out, I don't think it will be particularly messy looking. It's open. I don't have enough lizard eyes yet, so I'm going to make the belt buckle one. Take this with a nice little slit pupil. Sure, that's going to be way too small. Let's expand that out a bit. Got to keep remembering. Teeny model. Even things that you're like, that's way too big, will not be way too big. We could maybe even, be lazy and copy this. So I was sort of thinking of, here, where that goes. What would be nice as well would be to have the cloak come over the top, sort of halfway, but then we're really approaching actionable legal mesmer territory. Legal mesmer would make a good TV show. Now let's see what to do about these gloves. Maybe I could smooth out one of the bands. There'd still be one band to sort of break things up. I could put the flame pattern in, although that might be overdoing the flame pattern. You know what, when in doubt, just hit the road. Just get going to something else. So I'm going to go move on to the dragon wheelchair for a bit, because I've been wanting to do that for a while. We finally get to sculpt what is essentially a dinosaur. I feel like, a dragon is a dinosaur of the skies. A skynosaur, if you will. Even if you won't. Let's see. The deal with a drag racer is it's very low to the ground, very long, and we're going to have our pal Riley sort of leaning back a little bit. I'll just use this default body here. I'm sure me messing with this won't come back to bite me. So here we have our wonderful head, of course. That's a flawless dragon. Let's get a little bit more shape on here this first though, before we block out the rest of the car. Wants big nostrils. Oh dang, it's cute. What if it was cute? What if it was like a cute sort of gecko or a chameleon or something? It's not a dragon though. Chameleon I think is a bit overdone as far as like cute lizards go. I wonder what a long snouted lizard is. Well, sounds like a job for Google in a second. Also, this is way too dang big. Let's get this under control a little bit. Oh, don't really like that that's happening. There we go. It's not very aligned, is it? And the eyes are finished. Oh, where's that two spheres instead of a mirror? That's very unusual behavior. Okay, just going to get as far as sphere style allows us. Maru, at least for the blocking out stage. So what I was maybe thinking would be these. Let's actually get some sphere's cousin, the cylinder. That's not the number I face as I told you to do, Mr. Cylinder. Let's try that again. Thank you. Can you tell it's late in the day and I've been working all day? Work other than this, obviously. Obviously, this is really important work as well. Making a lizard chair. That's for charity. So how dare you say it's not important, me? Sorry, me. Hasn't this one got feet? Hands are sort of like feet. Stick some... There. Yeah, why not? That is a terrible sphere for this job. Just align the seat with his butt. Get a nice sphere going. We love the sphere. So unless I'm misremembering, the deal with the drag racers has big rear wheels and small front wheels. Is that right? Google. Yeah, more or less. I'm just going to nick these for now, actually, for the wings. Reusing parts is a big part of 3D modeling, and I'm trying not to reuse anything from other projects. If I didn't say anything about from within the project, might be fun to have some exhaust pipe horns. That seems like a good idea. I don't know how I'm going to fit all of this cool dragon car stuff. And it's still way too big. I was also thinking it'd be fun to have the sort of eyes actually be the wheels. And they'd be googly, but they'd be spinning around all the time because I need them to have that kind of reptile slit eyes for authenticity, to make this an authentic dragon car. Yeah, for size concerns, I'm going to need to kind of bring everything in. I might just bring in the knight. Oh, he's huge. Okay, well, this looks like an unfair competition. Right, they're not going to be the same scale because this hasn't been scaled yet. Okay, well... Let's just figure this out. Go head to head. Yeah, that's more or less right-ish. Maybe a little bigger. Yeah, the knight is already kind of chunky side to side, so this is going to need to be squished down. Although, these can be sold as just bigger models. I think they are going to be special. I'm probably only going to get the time to do one of these, even though I do want to do a goblin and a lich and a shark. So maybe it would just be super huge, just unwieldy and massive. See if we can't squeeze a little more space out, because the thing is, if anything, I want the head to be much larger. I wonder if I can bring in the knight's body somewhere for a proper scale. No, I can't be bothered. We'll fix all that later. I think the legs are together, that gives it more of the sort of luge look, and also saves a bunch of space that we can use for cool things. Not that, you know, legs and feet aren't cool. Is this anything? I think it's not the worst idea. The thing is, I kind of do want all of Riley to be visible, so I don't want this to be completely hiding them from view. My other thought was that the feet would be on the sort of wheel guards, but then I would have to make wheel guards. And I learned my lesson from the elf. Those wheel guards caused a bit of problems that I finally got figured out. But I don't really desire to do that again. There's an errant sphere in there for some reason. These wheels come down a little bit so that they're actually... Ah, it's cute. Oh yeah, and for some reason, whenever I've done open mouths, I've done it the silly way and just made it one piece, but I'm going to make it 2 pieces this time. Oops. Mirror modifier, or symmetry even. What a great mouth. I mean, I kind of like it, to be honest. Okay, sounds of cooking are intensifying in my head. Okay, that's partly because I'm hungry and it's dinner time. I will take a break soon, but for real this time. So yeah, if we put just some little bulbous things there, his feet are nicely slotting in. Quinn, could you get out of the way, please? Thank you. And then I could have I like the sort of exhaust pipe horn idea. I also sort of want the horns to be antlers as well. For some reason, I just like dragons with antler horns. But that might be one thing too many. Okay, Quinn's not have any at all there. What if they actually came down like exhausts? Would this make sense? We've got to make sure that we're not interrupting the movement of the wheels too much. But I don't dislike it. I think it kind of looks like a nice shape as well. It's still enormous compared to the others. Yeah, if we can shrink all the accessories down, get rid of the profile a bit. Because also, to be honest, well, the thing is, to be a drag racer, it has to be long, doesn't it, really? That's kind of one of the fundamental features of a drag racer. The big eyes are too good, is the problem. They will need a bit of shrinking, though, at some point. But that day is not today. Pretty fun. Because we've done the mouth the smart way, we can just make some nice lips very easy. I actually sort of think that eyes do need to be smaller today. Because if we shrink them down, we can make the snout a bit longer. Pull all this back. Looking a bit sort of skullish at the moment, which I'm not really intending. Our old friend Dintopo is screaming that he needs to help us, but I remain silent. Okay, and I'm just going to double check that nothing's inside out. Doesn't seem like it. It would be red if it was. I might pose the arms as well, just to figure out what exactly it would all look like. So I think, yeah, the idea was to have some dragon armrests as well. I'm sort of thinking those would come up over the wheels. See, this is sort of the stage at which I'm like, is this all a mistake? Is this going to be terrible? Well, you just muscle your way through. It will eventually be good. If I click on it enough, the whole thing is going to be great. That's the secret. Never give up, unless it's really bad, in which case go do something else. Maybe giving up on those armrests for now though. But the idea is, you know, they're sort of claws coming over the wheels. That rare. These exhausts I want to be coming up, you know, like a classic kind of exhaust thing. A classic kind of exhaust thing. My brain is running out of brain juice. I think that's not bad. It's probably time to come back in the morning though. Bail me out, future Jack. This is Future Jack. That was a bit of a rough one, wasn't it? As well as sculpting, I'm running a marathon for this charity and decided, hey, what's better than training for a marathon to run a marathon? Training to run an ultra marathon to run a marathon. So that was a bad idea and it's pretty tiring in itself. Plus, I tried out a different microphone and you could hear every single click I made, so I'm back to the old one for now. The expensive version of DaVinci Resolve could fix the clicks, but that's 300 quid that could go to kids in wheelchairs. So I figured I'd just keep this video short and sleepy instead. The next episode will be better for sure. Oh, and while you're here, maybe like the video anyway. Maybe subscribe, maybe hit me on the bell, and definitely click the link below to support kids who need wheelchairs, or check it out in my bio. I worked with Whizz Kidz before, chairing an event where some very nice man, in quotes, brought up the idea of putting advertisements on children's wheelchairs as a condition of subsidising them. And thanks to Whizz Kidz, there were parents and kids in the room to say, no. Do not do that. Those are basically my kids' legs. So if you support kids having legs without having to advertise car insurance on them, go click the link in the description or my bio, or go directly to Whizz Kidz and donate there. But you won't get a cool model with real rolling wheels. What roll like a wheel roll?